G'day, and in this video we're going to teach you about worm casting. What is a worm cast, what are the benefits of the worm cast, and how to use the worm castings to grow amazing plants at home. So welcome to Marty's Garden, and my name's Marty Ware. I'm a worm farmer with over decades of experience, and I love to farm worms and make compost and grow organic plants at home right here at Mullumbimby in New South Wales, Australia. Now, let's get into the first part. What is a worm cast? Well, let's get straight to it. Worm castings are worm poop, basically. But the beautiful thing about this type of worm poop is it's very, very special. And whatever you're feeding your worms is what comes out the back end and creates a nutrient-rich fertilizer for your plants. It'll also create a worm tea or a worm liquid drench, and many, many things that you can do around your garden. You wouldn't believe how versatile these things are. So in this next part of the video, we're going to talk about what are the benefits of having a worm farm and having worm castings at home. So what are the benefits of having worm castings at home? Well, firstly, we get free fertilizer, as I just mentioned, and a free liquid tea. And we're just basically using everything from around the garden and kitchen scraps and all that types of stuff to create these fertilizers. Now, a worm casting is a beautiful type of fertilizer because it doesn't burn delicate plants, it's pH neutral, and it has no smell. As long as you're working your worm farm correctly, it will stay aerobic and will produce a free fertilizer from your kitchen scraps and things that you've got lying around the garden. Worms love to eat anything that's organic. Now, the worm casting is actually, they're not actually eating the food, they're eating the microbes on the outside of the food that's breaking the food down. And they're passing it through the gut, and there's a little grinder there that grinds it down like a chicken, and then they pass it out through the gut and bring those microbes into the casting, which is very, very interesting because once it gets into the casting, if you're feeding a variety of foods, you end up with a quality casting, and that'll be very nutrient rich. And what happens with the casting is it has a little membrane around the outside of it, and it expands and contracts, expands and contracts. And what it does is it slowly shrinks down over about a 6-month period, releasing its nutrients and the microbes that it's contained in the casting. Now, worm castings actually, the microbes protect the roots of new seedlings and new plants, and things like nematodes and things that attack roots. It's like a little army around the outside, and it won't always do it. I don't know, because I'm not a scientist, I can't test it, but they've done lots of tests on this. Apparently that's one of the things that it does, and I really like that because I've studied that a lot in organics to do with companion planting and things, and other plants do it, such as marigolds and stuff like that. So the worm casting is an amazing fertilizer that you can produce. You can make your own liquid teas out of it. You can put it onto your plants and all different types of things, and it's just really great stuff. So anyway, let's get into the third part of the video about how to use worm castings. So I'm going to dig up some worm castings out of this farm here, and this is the farm that was gifted to me, and I'm waiting for a response to see if people want to actually have a good look at this farm and see, because I run it differently to other farms. But we're waiting for the response from the last video to see how we go. Now, if we go into here, you can see all those beautiful, nice, dark, nutrient-rich worm castings, and it's got worms all through it as well. And on hot days, they'll go down deeper into that. So there's a worm casting, and you can see other little bugs and stuff in it, but don't worry about that. Look, we're basically building a soil web, and you're always going to have other little things growing in there. But as long as we've got these castings, we're doing mighty fine. Actually, someone might be able to mention in the comments, just for fun, what those little white bugs are that are in there. And if we get this worm casting, and you can see it's ready, it'll sort of mold together Now it's not hurting the worms, it doesn't hurt them. It molds together like a putty, yeah? And it gets like a shiny surface on it. You know that it's ready. You can use worm castings really when it's about half done. You don't have to wait until it's fully ready, but most people like to wait until it's fully ready. Oh, look at all the worms all through that. Look, look. I just grabbed a handful. They're all through that. So we're to use about 10% of this into what we mix through, and also you could put a handful of that into a watering can and make like your own worm tea fertilizer. That would be enough for around about 10 litres, one handful there, and it would go for a long time. You could make more than 10 litres. You just keep doing it until it just runs out of oomph, basically. But yeah, get all the worms out of it first. So let's have a look at some seedlings that I've got going under the worm liquid at the moment. Just put this back, keep them nice and happy in this new gifted worm farm. Gotta love it, it's got thousands in there. In the next part of this video, we'll talk about how we use worm castings. Now, I have these little seedlings here, and these are the seedlings that I'm going to get started for our garden here in autumn going into winter. And you probably want to know what type of plants we got here. Well, these are silver beet, and then we've got bok choy growing as well. And you're looking at that going, oh, it's sitting in all like some type of brown liquid. Well, I bought this yesterday, and I just bought it from Mitre 10 up the road. It was, you know, they're $3.50 a punnet, and there's about 20, oh, I think there's 10 or 15 plants in each one. So if each plant produces some food for me, and say it cost me $3 to buy one of these plants from the shop, from the supermarket, I'm saving myself a lot of money, and I've got free fertilizer, so you've got to love that. I'm just going to put this back, and I don't want to mess up this video, so I'm filming all by myself here. Let's keep going, let's keep the camera rolling. I love it sometimes when you have like this behind the scenes stuff and we show you what's going on. I just created a video about liquids and worm liquids, and it's in the most recent video, and in here I've caught some of the liquid, and I've just been watering that and giving them a good soak with the worm cast tea, the drench that's come out of my worm farm. And I'll hang on to this because I want to talk about what I'm going to do with this next, because I've got to put these into containers or into the ground. Now I thought maybe it might be a great experiment to show you how I can grow these in containers using just worm products, right? So my compost and the worm liquid coming out of the worm farms, and also worm castings. And then we can watch how it goes over time, and interesting to see. YouTube doesn't like those type of videos so much because they're ongoing and they want to see a start to finish, and it's really hard to film. It'll take me months to film that coming through. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these into some pots. I'm going to feed them the worm liquid and then grow them in compost. You could use your own type of favorite potting mix, or your own compost if you have it, and you add around about 10% worm castings. You don't need to go any more than that. It's overkill. Save your worm castings, they're very valuable. Make liquids out of them and add around about 10% to the plants. And when you plant them out, put just a little bit more around the root system of these little seedlings, because every time you water them, they're going to get a little pump. Remember I mentioned about the good microbes that are living around the roots, protecting the roots, and also will give them those nutrients, those delicate nutrients that don't burn anything, and it will set up the plant to have really, really good health. So to break that down again, use 10% on your seedlings and plants when you're mixing in worm cast into your products that you're going to be growing in, and give them a liquid tea. You could do a weak one every day, or a little bit of a stronger one every few days, and break down the liquid tea using rainwater or a non-chlorinated water if you can. and then you'll end up with lots of food. There's so much food growing here at Marty's Garden, it's just unreal. Remember, check out another video, it'll be around here and here. Let me know what you think about the style of video that we're bringing out now. Hopefully you're getting a lot of value out of coming out here at Marty's Garden. If you live locally or not too far away, come and pick up some compost. We've got it selling out of the yard nearly every day, and you're gonna love growing organic food at home, man. You're not only gonna save money, it is so tasty. All right, have a good one. I'm gonna see if I can do a goodbye for now. Here we go, 1, 2, 3. That's a bit more difficult, holding on to the plants. Ciao.